Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Pillar Strength class. I'm Connor. Before we get started, what you will need for today's workout is going to be a foam roller, preferably a longer one if that's alright if you have one, but if not, a shorter one would work just fine. Long one's just going to be a little more useful for some of our touch points. A yoga mat as always, or a soft landing spot, not landing, something to rest on, brace some forces, and then as always some water. Today's class is going to be based on mobility, and while it might not get you super sweaty, it's definitely going to challenge your ability to achieve, reach and maintain and work through certain patterns and positions, all right? So without further ado, let's just jump right into a warm-up. We'll start with our neck, so instead of, the typical neck pushes, we'll just do circles with our neck, okay? Just do it nice and gentle at first. Start with a small circle and then work your way up into a wider one. All right, and try to keep rotating around the circle the same direction at first. Then in a moment, we'll switch directions. Go the opposite way. All right, now pause. Go the opposite way. Okay, now just do some shoulder circles. We're gonna go forward first. Round their shoulders back, pull them down, and then go up and forward. All right, now I'm gonna go the opposite direction. Shoulders rotating back. All right, let's move into some trunk twists. Our arms out. Get that middle back warmed up. Protect that spine. Okay, now let's leave our arms spread apart like a letter T. We'll do some arm circles forward first. Okay, now go back. Open up their shoulders. Okay, then last but not least, in order to loosen our hips up, if you have a wall nearby, that's great. If not, if you have like a banister or just a table you can lean on, that'd be fine too. I'll actually use this just for another example, so I'm a little closer. Just do some leg swings. They don't have to be too aggressive because, depending on what you're leaning on, that could make you fall over. So just be careful at first. Oh, see? Just make sure you maintain that balance. Get those hips loosened up. I'm going side to side first. Now I'm going to go back and forth. Okay. I'll switch legs now. Okay, now back and forth. Okay, all right. We have warmed up our pillar nice and easy. Now, let's get into the workout. So, the format of our workout today is going to be a more traditional workout format. I think I've already described what that is before, but real quick, it's not going to be like the cycles that we typically do where there's 4 exercises, we go boom, 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 down the list of 4, and then we cycle back up to the top for the next round. It's not what we're doing today. We are going to be doing 4 exercises where we will start with 1, we'll do 1 set, take a quick break for 30 seconds, do the next set, take a break for 30 seconds, do the final 3rd set, and then between that and then the next exercise that we're going to do, which is a different exercise, we'll take a minute to rest, catch our breath, get some water, things like that, all right? Some of our exercises are going to be unilateral, meaning like we'll just do it on the right side first. When we do that, we'll do what we do on the right side, quickly do what we do on the left side, and then we'll take our 30-second rest. It's not like those are 2 different sets, that's still 1 set, because you gotta hit both sides. It's all about balance, right? All right, so first thing that we're gonna do, let's get into a pigeon reach through movement. All right, so if you are familiar with yoga, you know what the pigeon pose, we might know what the pigeon pose is. So what I would say you should do is get down on that yoga mat, get down on those knees. I will take 1 step out in front of me, like I'm going to go into a lunge kinda. Now this is my right leg, so I will then put my hands down on either side of my feet by that front foot. I'm going to walk my foot down so that now my right leg is pointing out to the left, like the bottom of my right foot is pointing out to the left. I'll try to put my right knee onto the ground, but not everybody can do that, that's okay. Takes a good amount of mobility, and then I'm going to slide that left knee, the one that's in my straight leg, back as far as I can, comfortably. I want to remind everybody, as we are going to work through mobility today, you want to challenge yourself by pushing to discomfort, but don't push too far through it. because that's when we start to get into the territory of, risking injury, all right? Push to, not through the discomfort. So I'm finding my kind of comfortable place here. Hands still about shoulder width apart. Make sure your back is nice and neutral here. You don't want to be rounded forward or bent back. You want to keep it nice and neutral. Hips square underneath the shoulders, all right? So I'm starting with my right leg up. So what I'm going to do is with my right arm, reach through the gap between my left arm and my right leg. All right, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep this up all the way to 10. All right, 5, 6. As you reach, try to see what depth you can get. 7. It's okay if you bend that arm a little bit. 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Now that's it for that side. Let's move on to the next side real quick. So we'll get back into this, what we call this as a table position. I'll bring my other leg up between my hands. I'll drop it down so that now my left leg is the one that's forward, and it'll be, the bottom of my foot will be pointing out to my right. I don't know if you can see my hand that way. All right, and I'll drop that right knee back till I find my point of discomfort, but not going through it, going to it. All right, and now that my left leg is up, I will be reaching through with my right arm, or my left arm, through to my right side, okay? 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, experiment with depth here. You should feel a little bit of a challenge in both your hips and your thoracic spine to make this rotation. 9, 10. All right. We got 30 seconds, and then we're going to get right back into the right side for our second set of these pigeon reach throughs. All right, catch your breath. Like I said, you might not get too sweaty here, but you should definitely work so that you feel slight discomfort in some of these movements and the patterns that you do. Everything's pretty much dependent on your own capabilities, though. Not everything has to look identical to me, but just follow the same movement pattern. All right, let's get into position. Now my right leg is going to come up. I'll put my hands down next to it, drop that foot on its side, have the bottom of my foot point out to my left, drop my left straight knee back so that my hips are closer to the ground, and then I'm going to reach through 10 times. 4, 5, I might have miscounted that one, but it's okay. 6, 7, make sure you're breathing here because it's not easy though. You're still probably gonna sweat a little bit. 9, and 10. Okay, let's switch legs here. I'll step forward with my left, hands down, put the foot on its side, allow it to point out to your right, drop that back right knee down, hips closer to the ground, and then reach through 10 times. This is the second set of the left side reach throughs. Well, technically you're reaching to the right, but you know what I mean, we're reaching the left arm. For the next one, I guess I should have done on this one. For the next one, I'll change my orientation so you can see what this movement looks like from the front. 8, 9, 10. All right, 30 seconds. And then we'll do our final set of these pigeon reach throughs. All right, I'll show you what it looks like from this angle now. Now, if there's any problem with resting on your knees for a moment here, or if the pigeon is too much pressure on your knees, there are definitely, try to look for another padding that you can put under. It's very hard to adapt this to a different type of, like orientation, like standing orientation, but just do your best, all right? The whole point here is work on the mobility with your thoracic spine and your hips to allow you to sink in, all right, closer to the ground. So I'll step forward with my right foot, hands on the ground next to it, drop that foot down so that the bottom of the foot is pointing out to my left. All right, I'll sink my hips down closer to the ground, hands still shoulder width apart, and my right arm, I'll reach through 10 times. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I'll switch sides. Drop back onto both knees. stand up, bring my left foot forward, hands on either side. Drop that foot down. Sometimes I like to help that leg just because it's a little tighter than my other one. All right, we'll sink our hips down close to the ground, and then we'll do the reach throughs 10 times. Last set. 4, 5, 6. If you're thinking about controlling your breath here, exhale deeper as you reach through. You might be able to find a little more depth. 9, 10. All right, here we go. Now we're going to take, about a minute rest, maybe a little bit less. And we'll move into foam rolling arm slides. All right. Now, if anybody's ever done this before, you know what I'm talking about. If not, it's okay. What we're going to do is lay our foam roller down, oriented kind of vertically on our mat. If we would lay long ways on our mat, it would also track long ways, all right? Now, we are going to put our tailbone and the middle of our back centered around this foam roller, all right? Now, there should still be some space here between your lower back and the foam roller because that's the natural curvature of your spine. So what you're going to do is make kind of like a goalpost with your arms and try to get your elbows as close as you can to being flat on the ground. All right, I'm going to move this a little bit. And then 15 times, what I want you to do is slide your arms up as close as your elbows can get to the ground, and then slide them back down into that goalpost. And it's okay if your elbows come a little below your shoulders. All right, 15 times. That's 1, 2, 3. Try to use your core to stay stable because the foam roller is gonna roll. It want to roll a little bit because it's round, but stabilize with your core and your feet. Focus on opening up the front of those shoulders by bringing those elbows closer to the ground. 10, 11, 12. We just got 3 more. 13, 14. 15. I don't know about you, but I felt a really good stretch there in my pecs, in the front of my shoulders. All right, we'll take 30 seconds, and we'll get going again. Just gonna come over and check the time real quick. All right. All right, let's do it. So, same thing, 15 seconds. Here, I'll change the rotation now. Sorry. Not 15 seconds, 15 reps. Show you what it looks like from this angle. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, good. Take another quick break, and then we'll get into it again. One last time, one last set. This will be our 3rd one. And then the next one, we have sideline T-spine openers. Definitely feel this loosening up the front of my shoulders because, like I say before, time and time again, spend so much time hunched over with them curled in, whether we're on our phones, our laptops, or their desk. All right, here we go. 15 reps. Last time doing this exercise. If you want, also, so I had mentioned you should have your tailbone, your mid-back, and also probably the top of your head on this, just so you're not dangling it off. All right, here we go. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. You don't have to keep going the same speed as me. 14 and 15. All right, there we go. So next up we have the sideline T-spine opener. So we're still going to need this foam roller here. What we're going to do now is starting on a side. So I'm going to start on my right side. It might look like my left, but to me it's my right. I'm going to lift my leg up so that my thigh is now perpendicular to my body. So it creates a complete right angle at my hips and a right angle with my other leg. All right, and both my knee and my ankle should be resting on the foam roller that's out in front of me. I'll start with my hands together on the ground here, and then one rep of this is opening up, keeping that knee and the ankle on the foam roller, and see how close you can touch the back of your hand to the ground on the other side of your body. Right, that's one. We're gonna do 10 each side. 2, 3. So the whole point is you want to limit the rotation in your hips and use all of your thoracic spine to do this. I have pretty good thoracic spine mobility, so I'm coming pretty close. That's 9, 10. All right, and now we'll switch sides. Maybe you'll see a different angle here. So actually, you know what? Just go on this side. All right. So I was on my right. Now I'm on my left. Remember, your leg in front of you should be perpendicular with your body and the straight leg, aka right angles here and here. Inside of the knee and inside of the ankle touch. Hands out touching in front of you. 1. I have way less mobility on this side. 2. 3. Typically you'll find that you have less mobility on your dominant side, and that's because your muscles are actually bigger. So it actually limits your range of motion. There's a trade-off with getting stronger. Lose a little bit of mobility if there's more tissue. 8, 9, and 10. All right. Quick 30-second break, and we'll move into set number 2 here. Let me check my time again. All right, we got about 3 minutes left, so we'll kind of try to breeze through this. We'll actually just do one more set of this, and then we'll do 2 sets of the 90-90 hip openers. We're not really going to need a cool down for this workout, but I will tell you some things you should pay attention to and stretch after this. All right, so we'll get right down, do my right side T-spine openers. Get those points to touch, make sure it's perpendicular. Hands out, stretch in front of me, and then rotate. If you can do this and touch the back of your hand to the ground without lifting your knee up off the foam roller, that's great. It's a great time. If not, just go as far as you can. It's also good. Yeah. Like I said before, this workout is highly personalized. You're going to get out of it what you put in, and what's challenging to one person might not be anything to another, and vice versa. 9, 10. All right, let's switch sides. I don't know why I even flipped that. It's the same both ways. All right. Hands outstretched in front of me. Open up. 2, 3. Now, yeah, you'll notice like your heart rate probably isn't racing that fast, but you're still working up a little bit of a sweat, at least I am. And that's because we are still challenging our body. It's just we're not challenging our energy systems as much as we are challenging our ability to reach these positions and work through these patterns. 9, 10. Okay. There we go. All right, so the very last exercise we are going to do in today's pillar strength workout, the mobility focus, is 90-90 hip openers. So I want you to start like this, all right? Make sure that one hip, actually your hips should be right angles from each other. So here's a right angle, all right, sorry, let me restart. So your knees are gonna just be pointing out like this, probably at about 35 degrees from like what your midline would be, all right? Equal on both sides, but at your knee, you're gonna bend for a right angle, and at your back knee, you're gonna bend for a right angle, okay? So we're gonna focus right here, tighten our core up so that we stay stable, and then roll our hips and flip which side we are on, all right? And just keep flipping your hips back and forth. You can do this 20 times. Try to maintain those right angles as you move through these motions. Now, it's okay if you deviate a little bit. Some compensation here is going to be normal because not all of us have perfectly loose hips. Our hips are some of our tightest joints, but try your best to keep them as right angles. As you can see, I'm actually kind of moving here, and it's because I'm compensating a little bit for sure. I don't have the best hip mobility, but this is an exercise that's going to help open them up. I say focus your hands here because this will help you maintain a midline as you're going through these rotations. Right, we got about 5 left. I'm definitely moving a lot. Okay, let me slide that. All right, we'll take a 30-second break. Then we'll get into our last set. If you need water, you can take a drink of water. I'll give you a couple minutes or a couple seconds for that. Or actually, you can pause it. So no, let's just get right into it, all right? You can always pause the video. This is a recording, right? All right, so I started that way the first time. Not that it really matters because you're rotating both ways, but I'm gonna start this way this time. All right, remember, right angles at the knees, right angle here, leg to leg. So it wouldn't be 35 from the midline. It would be 45 degrees. 45 and 45 is 90. All right, 90 degrees at your back leg. So 90-90 hip openers. Go ahead. 20 of them. The best way to modify this, if the 90 degrees is too acute of an angle for you, too tight, just open up the angle a little bit, and it should be a little bit easier. What's important is that you're working through these ranges of motion, and as you're coming down, you kind of try to push a little bit. You know, work through, and if it's a little uncomfortable, just go a little bit further each time. And your breath is definitely going to help you with that. But as I mentioned before, I do want you to take this seriously. Make sure you are pushing to the discomfort and not really through it. All right. If it's too much pain, you got to stop where your body allows you to. And then next time, you're probably going to be able to go a little bit further because you went to that discomfort. The second we push way through these types of limits, opens the door for a ton of injuries. Right. 3 more. Okay. All right. Nicely done. Hopefully you guys are able to follow along. Sorry for kind of shortening up the workout a little bit for you, but if you want, you can go through and do the true 3 sets for each of those exercises. I think they're all pretty good at opening up your mobility, especially your shoulders and your hips. If you need a cool down, if you are your heart's racing a little bit, try to do some lateral steps, lateral squat steps. Reach down like that. Just do that back and forth for about 30 seconds. And then get into some step back lunges and twisting over that front leg, all right? Just like that. Just do that for another 30 seconds. And then on your own right now, make sure that you are spending some time stretching. Do some butterfly stretches, open up your groin a little bit more. It's probably going to be a little tense from that 90-90 hip flips because it's activating pretty intensely, and it's not really a movement that you're accustomed to doing. Do some knee huggers so you can stretch out that your glutes. Knee huggers are just seated figure 4 stretches, just like this basically, and you're going to sit down and pull that knee close to your body. And then finally, I want you to do this with me right now. Please, if you're still standing up following along, reach as high as you can. Extend those toes. All right, spread the arms out a little bit. Just reach for the sky. You can arch that back. You can go a little further, wherever you need it. Okay, nice job. Thanks for watching.